Hey there, my friends. My name is Andrew Michael, and if you're watching this video, you're probably considering making a move to Northeast Florida, and you're sitting there wondering that you're watching videos, you're all over Zillow, looking at homes and such, but you're asking yourself, what are the things that only locals would know? Both the good and the bad, the pros and the cons about St. Johns County, Florida. So if you watch this video, I'm going to answer all of that. The top 3 pros and the top 3 cons. And I'm going to do all of that right now. Hey everybody, again, welcome back. My name is Andrew Michael. I'm a real estate agent here in Northeast Florida. And we help people every day, just like you, with making a smooth transition to Northeast Florida. So whether you're looking to move now or out in the distant future, please feel free to give us a call or shoot us a text. In fact, we helped all these people. So we can definitely help you too. Now, with all that out of the way, let's talk about the top 3 pros for living in St. Johns County. Number 1 is affordability. Now, yes, housing values have skyrocketed in recent years, although they're starting to correct now. And they're more expensive now than they were, let's say, pre-COVID, and even then, they were more expensive than they were a few years before that. But I think if you look at the state of Florida, this close to the coast, St. Johns County is still a pretty good buy. So if you were to go down to Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Naples, any of the other areas that are on one of Florida's coasts, for the most part, I think you're going to see you definitely get more bang for your buck, more housing for your dollars here in St. Johns County than you get in some other places in Florida. Now, remember, when we're talking about affordability in St. Johns County, I'm going to share something with you. It took most people a while to realize. The most expensive place in this county is Northeast St. Johns County or Ponte Vedra Beach. Those are the 2 most expensive. There's exceptions, but by and large, that's where most of the more expensive homes are. So then as you go the northern part of the county, you go west, well then you can definitely find the housing, you'll definitely find the housing is more affordable. So for instance, you could take a new home in Nocatee, which is a master plan community in Ponte Vedra if you're not familiar with it. And you could take a new home in Shearwater, which is also a master plan community with amenities. Now, I'm not going to get into which one's better because that's preference and that's for you to decide for yourselves. But what I will say is you can get a new home in either one of them, sometimes by the same builders, but you're going to find you definitely get more house for your money in Shearwater than you do in Nocatee. And the reason for that is you're further west. In fact, it's pretty much straight due west. It's almost take 210 and just straight west from Nocatee gets you to Shearwater. So when you go west, you definitely get more, the housing becomes a little bit more affordable. So if we start in Ponte Vedra, like Nocatee or something, and you don't find what you want, then we start moving for the budget. Then we start moving west a little bit. Now the other thing is, in addition to going west, is going south. In St. Johns County, northeast part of the county is the most expensive. Then you got the northwest part. But as you go, like let's say you want 1 acre of land, it will cost dramatically less outside of Hastings, which Hastings used to be a city. It's in the southwest part of St. Johns County, so now it's an unincorporated area. But if you look in Hastings, which is a very different lifestyle than, let's say, Fruitland Cove, which is northwest St. Johns County. So I'm not saying which is best or which is best for you, but what I will say is that if you got an acre of land around Hastings, it is going to cost you far less than if you were to get that same acre up in northwest St. Johns County. So the number 1 pro to St. Johns County when compared to the rest of Florida is affordability. And number 2, if affordability is an issue within the county, northeast, and again, you're free to choose what you wish, but northeast part of the county is the most expensive. As you go west and south, the prices tend to go down if you're comparing apples to apples. So that's number 1. Number 2, pro about St. Johns County is there is so much to do here. Within the county itself. And so let's say, for instance, you're into fishing or outdoor stuff. Well, we have the Guana Marine Preserve. You could do birding, hiking, fishing. You've got offshore fishing, charter boat fishing, that sort of thing, or if you own a boat, you can go off. We also have the St. Johns River. So if you're into water stuff, outdoors, any one of those three could work for you. Also, we have the historic district. So if you like going out to restaurants, and nothing against like Olive Garden or big chains or something, but if you like going to unique family-owned restaurants, then the historic district of St. Augustine, I mean, you can spend forever dining out at different restaurants there. There is so much to do there. There's so much fun stuff. Like for our family, when we go out, there's the fort in St. Augustine. If you go there on Saturday mornings, I believe they usually have a live cannon fire by what do they call them, the reenactors. So these guys get all dressed up like in a colonial Spanish uniforms, or other uniforms too, because the fort has had a number of different countries possess it at different times. And they'll go down there and fire their cannons and stuff like that. It's pretty neat. You get to explore this old fort. They have all kinds of museums that cater to just about any interest. We went to the pirate ship museum not that long ago, and it was amazing. We absolutely loved it. When I walked in, it's like, okay, whatever, it's a pirate museum. But I was impressed, considering St. Augustine is a smaller town, at least in my mind, and it's not a big famous museum. I was impressed with what they had there. I thought it was great. You also have Ripley's Believe It or Not. You have tons of stuff. So now I could go all day long about what there is to do in St. Johns County, but our family's favorite things is, number one, driving on the beach. So we like to we'll go over to the Publix near Volano and, get whatever we need, subs, suntan lotion, whatever I forgot to bring from the house. We'll go get that. And then we'll take I have an F-150 with 4-wheel drive. So we'll just go right out on the sand. We'll whip around over at the tidal pool. Kids can play in the tidal pool. My wife and I can chill out, whatever. Afterwards, go get some ice cream, stuff like that. So that's one of our favorite things to do. And it's one of the few places in Florida where you can actually drive out on the beach and do stuff like that. Number two, our family's favorite thing to do is mini golf. So I don't know if that's of interest to you, but we have some great mini golf courses here. In fact, I'm going to let you in on a locals only, or something only locals know, is if you go down to Fiesta Falls, which is a mini golf course all the way down in southeast St. Johns County, they have a great golf course, but they also have really good soft serve ice cream. And so we'll go through to the golf course, go get some ice cream, get toppings on it, and we just have a great time doing that. So yeah, there is just so much to do in this county. It's just, and then sometimes certain neighborhoods have their own amenities and their own stuff, like Nocketees and stuff like that. So, all right, lots to do here in this county for all ages. So that's my number two favorite thing. Number three is the weather. So it does get hot and humid. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we do have a little bit more of change of seasons. Now, I'm not going to say it's like Vermont where we get these beautiful, all the beautiful leaf change color. Some leaves do change colors, nothing like that. But it does get a little bit colder than it does in the southern parts of the state. And a lot of people enjoy that. So it's not 80 degrees on Christmas. Not usually anyway. It's Florida. We do have some strange weather sometimes. But yeah, no, the weather is a definite plus here. In fact, do you know the last time it snowed, and I mean in earnest, in St. Augustine, Florida? I don't mean like one or two snowflakes, kind of came down and melted before they hit the ground. All y'all from up north, you're not going to consider that real snow. But when was the last time it actually snowed and there was enough snow on the ground that you could build a snowman here in St. Augustine? If you know the answer before I say it, throw it down in a comment below. I would be curious to find out. All right, so I'll give you a few seconds. There you go. It was February of 1951. So in February 1951, apparently it snowed enough here. I wasn't here, obviously. But apparently it snowed enough that you could build a snowman, and actually did affect day-to-day life for the people who lived here. So if it hasn't snowed since 1951, chances are it's not going to snow while you're here. So if you're tired of shoveling snow, or all the things that go along with that, I really can't comment on that because I'm a lifelong Florida resident. But whatever it is, you guys probably know better than I do. You're not going to have to deal with that here. So that is the top three things, or the top three positive things about this area that I could think of. Now let's move on to the cons, or the negative. So now we're going to talk about the cons. Number one is weather. It is hot and sticky here. There is no getting around it. Florida is humid. Now, in my opinion, being a lifelong Florida resident, I can tell you that it's better closer to the coast than it is in the central part of the state. So a few years ago, we went to Disney World. We were shopping in Disney Springs on a summer day, and it was abysmally hot. I could barely take it. And again, I've lived here my entire life. But what I've noticed is the temperatures may be about the same, but the breeze that you get closer to the beach really does make a big difference. So yeah, so that is one thing. If you can't handle heat or humidity, then this may not be the place for you. Best way to find out, instead of reading reviews or watching videos, which is cool, I'm glad you're watching this video, by the way. But one of the best things you could do is just visit here around July or August. That would be a great time. You know, come out, kind of drive around some neighborhoods, go some places you think you might go, and just ask yourself, is this so hot I can't enjoy myself? If that's the case, well, then this may not be the place for you. But if it is okay, you know, if it's great, you know, especially depends on how much you're outdoors. If you're not a gardener, if you're not like a hunter or a fisherman or something where you're outside all the time, it may not have that big of an impact, but that's definitely a question for you to answer. So that is number one. The number two con about living in St. Johns County, and again, this is going to be true pretty much anywhere in the state of Florida, is bugs. Now, we do have them. Now, the thing with bugs is they are everywhere. I was up in Alaska and we were getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So there's bugs, now not in the wintertime, it's obviously summer, but there are bugs everywhere you go. Now that being said, here in Florida, because of the mild winters, we have more of them. At least that's what I've been told. So the worst bugs that I can think of are number one, mosquitoes, and number two, those yellow biting horseflies. Those things are rough. When I first moved here, I was doing gardening in the backyard. I didn't spray any off or anything like that. I got bit like once or twice and it hurt. So I'm not making light of it. Now that being said, after having that happened, whenever I'm working in the garden or I'm gonna be outside, you know, if I'm going on a hike out in the Guana Marine Preserve or something like that, I spray myself with off. Not a big deal. It's not hard to do, obviously. So that, and if you do that, then you're fine. You won't have any issues with it. The other thing that locals know that you'll find out when you move here is it's great to get your house treated for pests and your yard. So almost all of us have some kind of company that comes and treats your grass. You just want to make sure that they're also treating it for pests too. So not just fertilizers to make the grass grow, but you also want to treat it for pests and insects, just to keep them under control, especially certain ones. So that, and then having your house treated with a, you know, we have a pest control guy periodically. He comes by the house, and if my wife sees something, then she can call him and he'll come by and make a special trip out, you know, that kind of thing. But by and large, that's something that most of us do here in Florida, and that's definitely something you're going to want to do. Now, the number three thing that you're going to, the number three con to living in Northeast Florida is going to be traffic and construction. The fact is, people are moving here from all over the country. So, with that being said, you definitely want to check. So, when you start narrowing in, like right now, you may have a pretty broad home search. You may not. You may know where you want to go. But it may be pretty broad. And this is true in St. Johns County or anywhere, really, anywhere in this part, the northeast part of the state of Florida. You definitely want to check and say, okay, there's woods, like for instance, when I'm working with buyers a lot, you'll see woods behind the house, and it's like, okay, is that going to stay woods or preserve, or at some point is that going to be built on? Just because you're looking at now woods doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. So in fact, here's a photo here. Now this area was woods and these homes backed up to it, but fairly recently they went through and took out all the trees, and now they're building commercial buildings here. So now, once all that's done, these residents, when they bought their home, they were looking at trees, what they thought was preserved, and trees. Turns out they're going to be looking at businesses behind their home. I've seen other examples where people have purchased in new construction communities, it backs up the trees, and you ask the site agent and said, oh, is this preserved behind the house? And the site agent says, yes, sort of. The last time I had this, I can't say the neighborhood of the builder. I don't really feel like getting sued. Although if we're working together, I will definitely tell you and make sure that you steer clear of this stuff. But there was about a 20-foot buffer between the property line in the back of the house and the preserve. After that was a different parcel, I noticed. So I called planning in St. Johns County. And by the way, if you have any questions about that sort of thing, they'll take your calls. They're very friendly. So anyway, I called with the parcel, or the strap number, as we call it here, and I gave them, I gave them the strap number and asked them what was going on, and they said that it may or may not be built, but the current owner has permission to build multifamily housing on that property. So that means, had my buyers purchased that home, yes, they would have had about 20 feet from the back of their property to the edge of the preserve. After that, they may be looking at like condos, apartments, something of that nature. You just have to ask yourself, 20 foot of woods, what is that really? Is that really gonna block you not seeing other buildings? Probably not. It's not like it's a bamboo forest or something. So now, by the way, if you're curious or you want to learn more about that kind of thing, I did a separate video on the top home buying mistakes that I see. And at the end of this video, that video will click up in the corner. So please feel free to watch that video. All right, so that's it. That is the yin and the yang, the good and the bad in living in St. Johns County. I hope you found this video beneficial. Do me a favor, if you did, give it a thumbs up. Helps me come up in ratings. And if I left anything out that you want to know, throw it in the comments down below. I would absolutely love to answer it. I answer as quick as I can. Sometimes I've even answered within a few minutes of when somebody posts something. So feel free to throw the question down below, or if there's anything else you'd like to see me talk about, feel free to throw that in there. My goal is to release 3 videos per week, which is a big undertaking, but when whatever. But anyway, so anything else you'd like to see, or if you have any questions that I didn't touch on, throw it down below. And last but not least, if you would like to make a smooth transition to Northeast Florida, if you need help with your real estate needs and other things that go along with it, I would love the chance to chat with you. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, the number's down below. And again, my name is Andrew Michael. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Have a great day.